Ladies and gentlemen, Shirley Lynette. Come on now.
My name is Nathan Banks Bay, 7th degree black belt in Shobudo Bujitsu, which is a Japanese martial art of Jiu-Jitsu. Practical applications of martial arts just through verbiage. When you go into a building that you're unfamiliar with, always sit, as I'm sitting, with my back against the wall so you can see people coming and going. If it's a restaurant, go get a seat, then get up and go check the bathroom to see if there's a window. In case of a fire, you can escape out of the window. Know where all your exits are. Because as some of you have read through news scenarios, when there are fires, they find the bodies stacked up at the front door because everybody goes out the door they came in instead of trying to find another exit. When you are sitting or driving, let me put it away, you're driving and there are people in the car, one that you know and one that you don't know. The one that you don't know, put him in the front seat. Don't put him in the back seat. If by some chance it's reversed and he's in the back seat, do not have him sit behind you. Have him sit to the right corner. Because if there's any danger of something happening, a person sitting behind you and you're driving, it's very hard to do anything. The thing that you could do, if for some reason someone's behind you and they put a rope around your neck, I know this is a little strange for some of you, speed the car up and then slam on the brakes, which then throws him forward. For the person that's to your right, you are able to drive the vehicle with your left hand and defend yourself with your right hand. When you are standing in a group of people, do your very best not to be in the middle. Stand to the outer edge of the circle. If you're talking to someone one-on-one, stand directly in front of them, but make them take a step to touch you. If they can stick their arm out and put their hand on your shoulder, they're entirely too close. In reference to 2 or 3 people that are you're in a conversation with, be in the middle of the three, and once again the same distance as far as anybody to touch you to be able to have to take a step. The reason why you want to be in the middle is because you're going to move to either the left or to the right. In some instances you can go up the middle, but what happens is like a bird's wing. You go up the middle and the wings fold around you. If you stand in the middle and move to the left or to the right, then the other two people will shift in whatever direction you're going. When you are sitting at a table, this is really, really important. Never sit with your back right up against the chair. Always sit forward so that you are sitting on the front edge of the chair so you can move side to side. If you're sitting with your back here, I'm only saying this way because this is an interview. If I'm sitting this way, a person comes up to the table and pins me to the back of the chair, it's very hard for me to move. And you'll see a lot of that in different movies. If you sit here and they put their hand on you, you can pivot in the chair and move and you can control them. You're at a table, the table's here. Person comes to your table and they're starting to give you some guff. Just push the table. The table will hit them right about 5 to 6 inches above the knee area, and they will fall forward and you can go from there if need be. With knives, try to get something between you and the knife. Take off your belt, use your belt buckle. Get a chair, whatever you can to defend yourself from a knife if you don't have knife training. Even with knife training, you still have to be very, very careful. Take every weapon serious, broken bottle, knife, pistol. If a person is 5 to 6 feet away from you, I don't care how much martial art training you have, you can't move faster than a bullet, period. Hear these. Say it again. You cannot move faster than the bullet. If the person has the gun up against your head, up against your chest, there's certain types of techniques that you can do in reference to controlling that situation. Remember, with a weapon, you control the weapon, or nobody controls the weapon. Now, I'm not going to say you're not going to get shot. I'm not going to say you're not going to get cut. I'm not going to say you're not going to get hit. All these things are possible, but you want to minimize it as much as you possibly can. It is far better to take a cut on the back or the center of your hand than it is up by the upper part of your neck, jugular vein, throat area. Okay? Same kind of thing. When you're walking in a city that you're not familiar with, never walk close to the buildings. Walk to the outside edge closer to the road, because there's been situations where people go by buildings and people pull them in into the hallway of the building, or the archway of the building, I should say, and things can happen. When you are walking close to the sidewalk, be aware of vans. Van doors can come open very quickly and people can snatch you in, and we know who's good at that. So those are just some minor things. You can research some of these other defensive moves on different types of websites and martial art training.
For you,
One thing I've noticed is that I like to look at people, like you're in Europe, and you're looking at people,
yes.
and I don't want to look at black people.
Why
Right?
not?
Because I feel like it's like more like, why are you looking at me? Why are you invading my space? Where, you know, or you're, what's up, white girl? I feel that. Where I'm really innocent in just kind of looking at the culture and I'm looking at the difference, you know, in the white people and the black people, Turkish, Asian, everybody. But I feel the most intimidated to look at like a family, a young Muslim African mother with her 2 children. I really feel uncomfortable to give her a real look, to get caught looking at her.
Yes.
You know, that is the most intimidating for me when it comes to people watching.
Okay, I'm here at Irving Park in Northeast. I was out here shooting hoop, and then I look up and here's Elijah wanting me to talk about the role in his film. This is an experimental film written and produced by Elijah Hassan. Hopefully you guys get to catch a glimpse. I'm the one starring in it.
was really little. I liked big cars. I didn't really have much interest in getting my license like other 16-year-olds until I started thinking about getting a Cadillac. It was probably when I had the Ghostbusters toys as a kid, and I thought the Ecto 1 was like the coolest car I'd ever seen. My first car when I was 16 was a '69 Cadillac. I had it shipped up to Oregon from a dealership in LA. I couldn't wait to get home and drive it when I found out it had been delivered. And of course, when I ran up the driveway to see it, my mom had left to go to work and had locked it all up so that I wouldn't drive it without her, which really infuriated me. Contrary to popular opinion, Cadillacs have not been much of a chick magnet. It may be this particular style of Cadillac. My wife had known for a couple years after being married to me that I was super into hearses, and one day on kind of a whim she said, you know, I wouldn't mind if you ever bought another one. And I think she probably regrets every day having said that. It's become a bit of an obsession. Hi, my name's Noah, and I am a hearse enthusiast.
White crap, but you know that the 401k won't pay, so they can't stay in the house if they just buy knock. Stamina, blood clot from stress, guys test to bring the back.
I'm also a member of the Professional Car Society and their Pacific Northwest chapter. We're a club whose aim is to maintain, preserve, and restore custom body, passenger car-based hearses, ambulances, limousines, and flower cars. And this is my 1995 S&S Cadillac Masterpiece funeral coach.
In the bed, but she feel work, the truth to her, a breeze hate, a trade fade, a tight shirt, a mini skirt, now the bill pay, attention ain't, she breaking out from face paint, now look at Mrs. Halloween with the hollow head, closed mouth, getting filled with the sausage, he can reach more poke what, poke her, the boss her, but not her, bug it up, and got runs on the stop, she calling cops, the niggas stop, picking through, peekaboo, took the two, smoked out with the lip, poked out, happy to be sad.
Just some local boys from P.O. Born and raised. So I seen a few things in time. Crooked ass police. Don't choke 'em, smoke 'em. Dead possums. Iran Contra. Crack cocaine. Gang members, gentrification, them dog parks now. I just be doing my thing, you know, walking through the city I love, Every now and then I'll go by a place, going inside, looking like they having a good time. So I'm going in, getting my libations. There'll be somewhere to sit on down. All of a sudden, get real quiet. I come round. I figure they scared or they lying. Scared of lying. Scared of lying. Scared? Scared of what? Well, they scared a little on me. And sure enough, don't be lying. Ain't that the devil, y'all? Lie. Yeah. I told my boy, man, I was wrong. I told my boy, man, I was wrong. Can't tell you why. Just trust me, man, I was wrong. I slept around the way from my home. I slept around, y'all, around the way, now wasn't alone. I told my woman, girl, your best friend just brought me home. Yeah. Said, your best friend? She made the bed, made me breakfast, and brought me home. She started crying. That little girl started crying. She said, you ain't scared, Daddy? Scared of what, baby? Scared of dying. I said, we all gonna die one day, baby girl. And I know I gotta meet my maker. So dying ain't what I'm afraid of. Me? I'm scared of lying. I'm scared of lying. Y'all hear me? I'm scared of lying. Scared of lying.
Hi, my name is Scott. When I moved to the Gabriel Park Apartments approximately 8 years ago, the rents were actually quite reasonable. But as with everybody else, the rents in Portland have just gone crazy. Within the last 2 years, my rent will have increased by 70%, and I just can't afford to pay that because obviously my pay has not gone up 70% in 2 years. So now I'm going to be moving back to the central or the southern part of the state where the rents are more reasonable because I just can't afford to live in Portland anymore.
My name is Willie Banks. I came to Portland in 1974. I was transferred from the Umpqua National Forest to the regional office here in Portland. I started my career in the engineering, doing road designs throughout Oregon and Washington. It was a great venture for me, a learning sensation. One day in November, I went to sleep and I received a vision. I believe it was from on high to recognize Rosa Parks. And I started a foundation in her behalf. And right after I started this to rename streets and to recognize her throughout the United States, she died. And I felt that it was my responsibility in the way of civil rights to keep her name alive. The first thing I did in the way of Rosa Parks, I began to put together a foundation and a memorial for her. In the United States, I started asking the governors to recognize this great woman of ours and renaming streets in her behalf. After getting petitions and having meetings and meeting with the commissioners, it was a hard task because there were many doors that were closed in my face. I would go in to check to see what the city position was to rename the street, and the person that I was supposed to meet that day would be gone, and they would say, well, you know, we don't have anyone else here that can supply your needs. And I would always come back. I said, I am courageous. I would come back and say, okay, you close the door today, tomorrow I'll be back. But I continued to move forward because Rosa did not get up out of her seat for someone else, and I'm not going to stop for someone else. During that same time, I petitioned the Congress, the House, and the Senate to place her on a stamp. I sent letters throughout the United States to make sure that Rosa Parks was recognized on a stamp. February of 2014, after we petitioned the government for 13 years, I was happy to hear that the stamp had came out, and they began to distribute the stamps throughout the United States. And boy, I was really happy to see that. So I decided that I would design a statue in her behalf. I sketched it out. I went to an artist and had an artist to draw it up. Then I began to call and send letters to the city to look for an area for this fountain. This is a beautiful spot for the peoples in this city and in the United States, especially for the peoples that live here in Portland. So I just think that this would be an ideal place to recognize all those that have fought for civil rights. And this fountain would flow water, giving people's encouragement to continue to fight. It's so important to have a civil rights movement. Someone say, well, you know, civil rights has been completed. No, sir, the war is not over. Many African Americans would agree with me that we need something in the downtown area because all the people that come into the city come downtown Portland. Some never do go in Northeast Portland. We want them to know that we do live here and that it's been a struggle for African Americans and people of color. And they need to be recognized. And I'm asking the city to get with it and get this thing done while we can have a waterfront fountain right here in Portland. My vision of a stamp for Rosa Parks came true, and my vision for renaming a street in her behalf, it came true, and hopefully this water fountain of civil rights will come true by the will of God.
In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Greetings, my name is Dr. Scott Whitaker. I'm a naturopathic doctor. That means a doctor who heals people naturally using herbs, diet, fasting, detoxification, and all the means, methods used that are in a natural form. My message to the youth today is prepare yourself for the changing times. The world is constantly evolving and bringing in new ideas, and new systems are also amongst us. The youth will need to be ahead of that. On the health side, prepare your body. And now that you're young, you're building a foundation for your later years. You know what I mean, 40s and 50s. You don't want to be having to use a cane or a wheelchair when you're 50 years old. So how you take care of yourself now is a foundation for 20 to 30 years later. So if you abuse your body with alcoholic beverages, high amounts of fast food, pharmaceutical or street drugs, you are setting yourself up for body to succumb to different chronic diseases, particularly the big ones, diabetes, cancer, or heart failure. And so for the youth, those things are very, very important. And particularly the male, the African American male, being faced with ailments now that they weren't seen 30 or 40 years ago, particularly the heart disease, and now the incidence of prostate cancer. With heart disease, it has to do with a lot of factors. Number one, stress, dealing with our environment, dealing with the fact that we're probably working around people or being around people who were detrimental in our upbringing. And then you bring on the poor diet with that, which means eating foods that are basically unnatural, which are basically things like margarine, okay, things like pork, okay, and things, high fructose corn syrup, fruit drinks. All these things contribute to heart disease. So you must avoid those products. What you want to include in your diet is more fruits and vegetables, nothing from a can, more garlic, the herbs, hawthorn berry, the herbs, you want to use some motherwort, ginger, those types of things the heart loves, okay? When you're dealing with prostate cancer, incidence is just rising every day. It has to do with estrogen in men. Men are getting more estrogen now than ever in the history of mankind. And these are female hormones that are going into men, and it affects the prostate by causing it to swell. And through that swelling, it creates an environment for cancer. So the foods that bring in this estrogen, the top three right now are commercial chicken, commercial dairy, and soy products. And so if you're going to eat meat, it's got to be organic. If you're going to use dairy products, it's got to be organic. And you should avoid soy at all costs. Some herbs you can use to reduce swelling. Number one is pygeum, sarsaparilla, ginger. Those types of herbs reduce prostate swelling, keep erectile function at good strength. Urine flow would be good. Those types of things are needed just about every day in your diet. And with that, you can offset the different problems that are now being faced with prostate. And then on the side of the heart disease, you can also get away from that too. The other aspect of living in this toxic world is that you'll have to incorporate detoxification into basically your daily lifestyle. One of the key organs of elimination is the colon, and that's one of the main routes for detoxification. When the colon is a cesspool of waste and toxins, your body is a total waste and toxins. And when that colon is not flowing properly, many ailments begin to show their face, because every disease begins in the colon. So when you do the colon cleansing, there's certain herbs you use for that too. You use psyllium, you use bentonite, you use burdock root, senna, and what these herbs do, they go in and they break up the mucoid plaque that's in your colon. Your colon is 35 feet long, okay? And if something is sitting in there for 2 or 3 days, it's fermenting, rotting, and if it can't get out, then it goes to those toxins that can't be released, go to weak spots in the body and set up cancer. So very, very important that you're cleansing the colon, you're releasing toxins, you are eliminating every day. There's no such thing as waiting a week, 2 weeks, and thinking that's normal. There's nothing normal about that. If you notice how babies eliminate right after they eat, that's how the human adults should be eliminating, okay? So we've been tricked into thinking that after 3 days, one bar movement is good, which is not, because you're setting yourself up for #1 killer now in cancer, which is colon cancer. So very, very important that the detoxification also comes in forms of sweating, which means exercise, saunas, also in the form of using methods to clean heavy metals out of the system, which is called oral cleation. So there's ways that you must include into your lifestyle, because they're building, every day there's new chemicals coming onto the market, and those chemicals are shot in the air and you have to ingest them, and then your liver's got to deal with it. Our livers today are now overburdened, too much mess. They can't do what they used to do back 50 years ago, and so you have to assist them now in using the plant kingdom to detox the body. Now, when you look at economics, start looking at investing, and particularly land, okay? Wherever it may be. It could be internationally, it could be here in America, it could be in other parts of the world. But investing in land, and also owning things without any debt, okay? So if you want to buy things, buy it cash straight. Don't get into the trick of using credit cards, and you get caught up in interest, and you'll be in debt that you can't pay off until you're 80 or 90 years old, and leaving it for your children. Spiritual side, you have to be grounded and maintain your connection with the Creator, because without that you are a total loss. And as I said, the forces of evil will be attacking you with all types of anti-God images and messages. They're coming at you through the TV, they'll come at you through the movies, they'll come at you through the music, they'll come at you even through school books and take you away from your Creator and take you from the right path. So for the youth, we need you, because the future of humanity is very, let's say, in a very negative state right now. You got a lot of sick individuals who have been in power, and they've abused that power and have turned the world upside down. So we need new warriors for the Creator, who are about morals, ethics, good behavior, good hygiene, and then good business practices, which always will be fruitful and rewarding.